Okay, so I have finished my binge watch the other day and finally found time to talk about it. So, with that all being said, here we are. And there's going to be some spoilers mentioned in this review. So, if you're not caught up, you may not want to watch this video. Go binge watch season 5 and then come on back and hear what I got to say about it. So, here we go. So we pick up right where we left off and see, like from where season 4 ended. We pick up right from there, and I honestly thought, I don't know why, but I honestly thought that this season wasn't going to carry out the way that it did. I thought maybe, okay, the ride was going to be over, and then I didn't think they were going to go the route that they went. And the I thought things were going to go back to semi-normal, like after that, crazy season 4 finale, but I mean, that was clearly debunked. And what the way this season has been carried on, I mean, like where the guards are being held hostage, and holy shit, I mean, Tasty has, Tasty's doing this for, Pusey, like, to basically get justice for her murder. And then there's a majority of other inmates who are just having fun with it, like where they just want to feel empowered and just boss, the guards around. And then there's also some other inmates that are not all for that, where they just want to put their head in the sand and they don't want any part of this, none of that, not at all. They're just staying out of trouble, basically. I mean, not to mention Alex. I mean, she definitely does not want anything to do with that. And but I mean, it's I like it because it's different. I mean, like, it's something that's never happened on the show before. I mean, this is something totally different, and that it happened through the whole season. Like, through the whole season, these guards are held hostage, and Caputo is held hostage with them too, and basically the inmates are running things, like pretty much, like during that, during the season. And I mean, and it gets more intense as it gets closer to the end of the season, like, because this doesn't end until, like, what, near the last last 2 episodes. I mean, I thought it would have ended like somewhere in episode 3 or 4, but this carried on. And it's amazing looking back on previous seasons how we started out where we were mainly following Piper. Now as the seasons went on, it's like the spotlight is just moving around to each character, like where every character is more front row and center than they were in season 1. So there really is no lead character at this point. I mean, there's just major characters. Like, they're all major characters. And I gotta say, I will say this though, when Caputo's girlfriend or ex, like the girl that he was messing with last season, was trapped in the prison too, and then she had to basically sort of pretend to be an inmate, and I kind of feared for her safety a little bit as it got closer to where, like where, more inmates were gonna find out who she is. And damn. And also, I'm glad that I almost said Caputo, but Piscatelli, I'm glad that he did come back, because I know in my season 4 review I said I hope we don't see him again, but just for closure's sake, I'm glad that he was brought back. And man, he was definitely, he scooped to a lower level of asshole in this season. Like, holy shit. I mean, like, he's like in I think in episode I think it was what, 9 or 10, somewhere around there, where he's basically being all Michael Myers and all Michael Myers like, and working through the hallways and getting ready to abduct, where he looks like he's either gonna abduct these inmates or kill them. Like, I thought he was gonna kill one of them, honestly. And oh my gosh. And then we get a flashback to see that this guy did have a backbone at one point. And and you see that, okay, I kind of get a small idea of why you're so fucked up. Yeah, and and when it came down to where they were holding him hostage too, um, it's it's like getting to that point where I bet some of you are basically rooting for one of the inmates to kill him. Maybe you were, but maybe you weren't just because you hated them, and maybe you didn't because you don't want them to get in that much more trouble than they probably already are. But me, I was somewhere in the middle. Like, yeah, he needs to go, but don't don't cross that line. Like where I was telling Tasty, like when she held the gun to his head, I'm like, I get it, he deserves it, but do not cross that line. Do not cross that line. I mean, that is basically what's carrying the show, like justice for Pussy. I mean, like for carrying this season, and while everyone else is kind of doing their own thing with the with the aftermath of the riot. But man, I don't know. I mean, like I'd say this may have to be the show's darkest and probably most intense season by far, and to the point where you don't know what's gonna happen. I mean, they finally get a SWAT team or whatever, into the prison, and they basically get they get every inmate out of there. And I was afraid that they were gonna kill one of them, but shit. And then they ended up killing Piscatelli, which I was like, well, holy shit. But I'm like, yes, I don't want to see him again. I don't want to see him again. But you got a little glimpse of remorse when Tasty held a gun to his head, and I'm not sure if that was, I mean, it would have felt kind of, silly, and I don't know, for me personally, you would think that he has something up his sleeve. Like, if we didn't see that flashback, but I saw a little glimpse of who he was in that flashback when he talked to Tasty and said that he's been down that road and that's not where she wants to be. He's basically talking her out of it. Like, I don't know if he was being sincere or if he was just, if he had really had something up his sleeve, because he humiliated Red in front of everybody and he broke Alex's arm. I mean, like, man, I was almost convinced he was going to kill somebody, and I'm sure he wanted to. But holy shit. But hey, that character's dead, so yeah. But man, it ended with uncertainty, like where's this gonna leave everybody? I mean, is this gonna take all of them out of Litchfield? Is it gonna take, well, most of them out of Litchfield, or is it what? We don't know what the future holds for these characters in season 6. I mean, it just ended where they got everyone out of there, but more of the except for some of the key characters who are down in the pool room or whatever. Like where there's Piper and Alex, Crazy Eyes, Tasty, and I mean, they're all there waiting. They're surrendering. They're waiting for them to come in there and just. We don't know what's gonna happen, but they did make us think that they were gonna kill Crazy Eyes. Like, is she gonna die of an overdose? I thought they were gonna leave us hanging for like a whole year. Like, are they gonna kill her off or not? But thankfully, she's okay. That character's gonna live to see another season from how that looks anyway. So, thank God. But yeah, I mean, like I said, we don't know what's gonna happen from here. I mean, like, there's gonna be some dire consequences from this riot, and then you see Bailey, how they want to try to get him into prison, and it's good how they're bringing this broken system into the light. Like of how when somebody who's black has been murdered or humiliated by by the police, or police brutality, you know what I mean, like where they abused a black civilian, or they've killed them and there's no justice for it. I mean, I like how they're trying to bring that more into the light of how fucked up this system really is. And I also like how with Bailey they show that he is not he can't, I mean, he just cannot live with himself. I mean, like, he's looking for an easy way out. He just basically wants to die at this point, and I almost thought he was going to kill himself. And then he goes to visit Pusei's father and say that he was the one who killed her, and I guess he was hoping for, like, at least an ass beating. But her father said it best, saying, like, you have to live with this for the rest of your life, and that is your punishment. Like, wow. That is deep. I mean, the man is way better than me, and I guess you would probably think the same thing. But, I mean, I thought he was really going to kill himself by the end of the season, but I don't know. I guess we'll see. Or they'll just leave it at, they'll just leave it as that, like, where he's just not living anymore. He's just existing with this, with that, responsibility of his actions. But yeah, I have to say that this is probably the most intense and most, most intense emotional roller coaster, intense insanity roller coaster ride of the show's season by far. So with that all being said, this gets 4.5 chair spins out of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4.5 chair spins. So feel free to share your thoughts on the season. Did you think it was the best season or the most intense season, or do you think season 4 is up there? But I mean, like, they're up in their game after that really underwhelming season 3, so they just topped themselves in season 4, and that was really good too. That's saying a lot. So yeah, if you guys enjoyed my review on this season, make sure you thumb up the video, make sure you click subscribe if you're a newbie to the channel. Thank you for watching, and I may do a review of seasons 1 through 3 eventually. I don't know when, but sometime I may do that. I mean, I already did seasons 4, and then now I did 5 here. So yeah, so in the meantime, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out, y'all.